Thus Kamsa was placed into great fear and doubt. Reports. It has already been discussed that Mother Earth implored Lord Brahma to give her relief from the distress created by the burdensome demons, and that Lord Brahma informed her that Lord Krishna himself was going to appear. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 4.8, Parichanaya sadhanam vinasaya jaduskritam dharma samsthapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Whenever there is a burden created by the demons, and whenever the innocent devotees are distressed by demoniac rulers, the Lord appears in due course of time to kill the demons with the assistance of his real representatives, who are technically called demigods. In the Upanishads, it is stated that the demigods are different parts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As it is the duty of the parts of the body to serve the whole, it is the duty of Krishna's devotees to serve Krishna as he wants. Krishna's business is to kill the demons, and therefore this should be a devotee's business also, because the people of Kali Yuga are fallen. However, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, out of kindness for them, did not bring any weapon to kill them. Rather, by spreading Krishna consciousness, love of Krishna, he wanted to kill their nefarious demoniac activities. This is the purpose of the Krishna consciousness movement. Unless the demoniac activities on the surface of the world are diminished or vanquished, no one can be happy. The program for the conditioned soul is fully described in Bhagavad Gita, and one simply has to follow these instructions to become happy. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has therefore prescribed Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nameva Kevalam, Kalo Nasteva, 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 Gatiranyata. Let people chant the Hare Krishna mantra constantly. Then their demoniac tendencies will be killed, and they will become first-class devotees, happy in this life and in the next. Well, that's good. Very, very, very good. Text 65 and 66. After the departure of the great Saint Narada, Kamsa thought that all the members of the Yadu dynasty were demigods, and that any of the children born from the womb of Devaki might be Vishnu. Fearing his death, Kamsa arrested Vasudeva and Devaki and chained them with iron shackles, suspecting each of the children to be Vishnu. Kamsa killed them one after another because of the prophecy that Vishnu would kill him. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Jiva Goswami, in his notes on this verse, has mentioned how Narada Muni gave Kamsa this information. This incident is described in the Harivilas. Narada Muni went to see Kamsa by providence and Kamsa received him very well. Narada therefore informed him that any one of the sons of Devaki might be Vishnu. Because Vishnu was to kill him, Kamsa should not spare any of Devaki's children. Narada Muni advised Narada's intention was that Kamsa, by killing the children, would increase his sinful activities so that Krishna would soon appear to kill him. Upon receiving the instructions of Narada Muni, Kamsa killed all the children of Devaki one after another. Well, that's pretty horrible. The word Ajna Sankaya indicates that Lord Vishnu never takes birth, Ajna, and that he therefore appears as Krishna, taking birth just like a human being. Manushim Tanam Asritam. Kamsa attempted to kill all the babies born of Devaki and Vasudeva. Although he knew that if Vishnu were born, he would not be killed. Actually, it came to pass that when Vishnu appeared as Krishna, Kamsa could not kill him. Rather, as foretold, it was he who killed Kamsa. One should know in truth how Krishna, who takes his birth transcendentally, acts to kill the demons but is never killed. When one perfectly understands Krishna in this way, through the medium of Shastra, one becomes immortal. As the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 4.9, Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tattvata tyakvadeham punarjanma naiti mam eti. So Arjuna, one who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities, does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. Text 67. Kings greedy for sense gratification on this earth almost always kill their enemies indiscriminately to satisfy their own whims. They may kill anyone, even their mothers, fathers, brothers, or friends. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. We have seen in the history of India that Aurangzeb killed his brother and nephews and imprisoned his father to fulfill political ambitions. There have been many similar instances, and Kamsa was the same type of king. Kamsa did not hesitate to kill his nephews and imprison his sister and his father. For demons to do such things is not astonishing. Nonetheless, although Kamsa was a demon, he was aware that Lord Vishnu cannot be killed, and thus he attained salvation. Even partial understanding of the activities of Lord Vishnu makes one eligible for salvation. Kamsa knew a little about Krishna, that he could not be killed, and therefore he attained salvation, although he thought of Vishnu, Krishna, as an enemy. What then is to be said of one who knows Krishna perfectly from the descriptions of Shastra, like the Bhagavad Gita? It is therefore the duty of everyone to read Bhagavad Gita and understand Krishna perfectly. This will make one's life successful. Text 68. In his previous birth, Kamsa had been a great demon named Kalanemi and been killed by Vishnu. Upon learning this information from Narada, Kamsa became envious of everyone connected with the Yadu dynasty. Purport of Srila Prabhupada. Persons who are demons, enemies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are called asuras. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, the asuras, because of their enmity toward the Supreme Personality of Godhead, take birth after birth in asura families and therefore glide down to the darkest hellish regions. Text 69. Kamsa, the most powerful son of Ugrasena, even imprisoned his own father, the king of the Yadu, Bhoja, and Andhava dynasties, and personally ruled the states known as Surasena. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The state known as Mathura was also included within the states known as Surasena. Additional notes for this chapter. Regarding transmigration of the soul, Srila Madhvacharya gives the following notes. When one is awake, whatever one sees or hears is impressed upon the mind, which later works in dreams to show one different experiences. Although in dreams one appears to accept a different body. For example, when one is awake, one does business and talks with customers. And similarly, in dreams, one meets various customers, talks about business, and gives quotations. Madhvacharya says, therefore, that dreams take place according to what one sees, hears, and remembers. When one reawakens, of course, one forgets the body of the dream. This forgetfulness is called apasmiti. Thus, we are changing bodies because we are sometimes dreaming, sometimes awake, and sometimes forgetful. Forgetfulness of our previously created body is called death, and our work in the present body is called life. After death, one cannot remember the activities of one's previous body, whether imaginary or factual. The agitated mind is compared to agitated water, reflecting the sun and the moon. Actually, the sun and moon reflected on the water do not exist there. Nonetheless, they are reflected according to the movements of the water. Similarly, when our minds are agitated, we wander in different material atmospheres and receive different types of bodies. This is described in Bhagavad Gita as guna sangha. Karanam guna sango sya. Madhvacharya says, gunan ubadaha san. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jiva. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 19:151. The living entity rotates up and down through the universe, sometimes in the upper planetary system, sometimes in the middle and lower planetary systems, sometimes as a man, sometimes as a god, a dog, a tree, and so on. This is all due to the agitation of the mind. The mind, must therefore be steadily fixed. As is said, Savai Mana Krishna Pradaravindayo. One should fix one's mind at the lotus feet of Krishna, and then one will become free from agitation. This is the instruction of the Garuda Purana. And in the Naradiya Purana, the same process is described. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Yanti Deva Ruta Devan, the agitated mind goes to different planetary systems because it is attached to different kinds of demigods. But one does not go to the abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by worshiping the demigods. For this is not supported by any Vedic literature. Man is the architect of his own fortune. In this human life, one has the faculty, one has the facility with which to understand one's real situation. And one can decide whether to wander around the universe forever or return home back to Godhead. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Aprapya mam nivartante mrityu samsara vartmani. There is no such thing as chance. When a tree is burning in a forest fire, and although the nearest tree is spared, a distant tree catches fire. This may appear to be chance. Similarly, one may seem to get different types of bodies by chance, but actually one received these bodies because of the mind. The mind flickers between accepting and rejecting, and according to the acceptance and rejection of the mind, we receive different types of bodies. Although we superficially seem to obtain these bodies by chance, even if we accept the theory of chance, the immediate cause for the change of body is the agitation of the mind. Notes on Amsa. This chapter describes that Krishna appeared Amsena with his parts and parcels or his partial manifestation. In this connection, Sridhara Swami says that Krishna is 100% Bhagavan. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Because of our imperfections, however, we cannot appreciate Krishna in fullness. And therefore, whatever Krishna exhibited when present on earth was but a partial manifestation of his opulence. Again, Krishna appeared with his plenary expansion, Baladeva. Krishna, however, is full. There is no question of his appearing partially in the Vaishnava Tosam. Srila Sanatana Goswami says that to accept that Krishna was partially manifested would contradict the statement Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Srila Jiva Goswami says that the word Amsena means that Krishna appeared with all his plenary expansion. The word Amsena Vishnu do not mean that Krishna is a partial representative of Vishnu. Rather, Krishna appeared in fullness, and he manifests himself partially in the Vaikuntha Lokas. In other words, Lord Vishnu is a partial representative of Krishna. Krishna is not a partial representation of Vishnu. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila, chapter 4, this subject matter is explained very clearly. Sri Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur also notes that no one can describe Krishna in fullness. Whatever descriptions we find in Srimad Bhagavatam are partial explanations of Krishna. In conclusion, therefore, the word Amsena indicates that Lord Vishnu is a partial representation of Krishna, not that Krishna is a partial representation. Not that Krishna is a partial representation of Vishnu. I'm going to read that again. In conclusion, therefore, the word Amsena indicates that Lord Vishnu is a partial representation of Krishna, not that Krishna is a partial representation of Vishnu. Srila Sanatana Goswami's Vaishnava Tosani has explained the word Dharma Silasya. The exact meaning of Dharma Silasya is an unadulterated devotee. Real Dharma consists of full surrender to Krishna. Sarvadharmam prityaja mamekam saranam praja. One who has fully surrendered to Krishna is actually religious. One such religious person was Maharaj Parikshit. Anyone who accepts the principle of surrender to the lotus feet of the Lord, giving up all other systems of religion, is actually Dharma Sila, perfectly religious. The word Nibrita Tarsai refers to one who no longer has any material desires. Sarvapadi Vinirmuktam. One may have many material desires because of contamination in this material world, but when one is completely free from all material desires, he is called Nibrita Trishna, which indicates that he no longer has any thirst for material enjoyment. Swamin Kritarto Smi Varam Na Yache Hari Bhakti Sudodaya. Materialistic persons want some material profit from executing devotional service, but this is not the purpose of service. The perfection of service, of devotional service, lies in complete surrender unto the lotus feet of Krishna with no material desires. One who surrenders in this way is already liberated. Jivan Mukta Sauchite, one who is always busy serving Krishna in whatever condition he may live, is understood to be liberated even in this life. Such a person who is a pure devotee does not need any change, does not need to change his body. Indeed, he does not possess a material body, for his body has already been spiritualized. An iron rod kept constantly within a fire will ultimately become fire, and whatever it touches will burn. Similarly, the pure devotee is in the fire of spiritual existence, and therefore his body is Chinmaya, which is spiritual, not material. Because the pure devotee has no desire but the transcendental desire to serve the Lord. In text 4, the word upagiyamanat is used. Nibrita tarsir upagiyamanat. Who will chant the glories of the Lord unless he is a devotee? Therefore, the word Nibrita Tarsai indicates the devotee and no one else. These are the remarks of acharyas like Vira Raghava Acharya and Vijay Yadvaja. To desire anything other than devotional service will diminish one's freedom from material desires. But when one is free from all such desires, one is called Nibrita Tarsai. Vina Pasu Ganat. The word Pasu means animal, and animal killer, Pasu Gana, cannot enter into Krishna consciousness. In our Krishna consciousness movement, therefore, animal killing is completely prohibited. Uttama sloka gunan vadat. The word Uttama sloka means one who is famous as the best of those who are good. The Lord is good in all circumstances. That is his natural reputation. His goodness is unlimited and he uses it unlimitedly. A devotee is also sometimes described as Uttama Sloka, meaning that he is eager to glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead or the Lord's devotees. Glorifying the Lord and glorifying the Lord's devotees are the same. Or rather, glorifying the devotee is more important than glorifying the Lord directly. Narottama Dasa Thakura explains this fact. Shadya Vaishnava Seva Nishtara Payeche Keva. One cannot be liberated from the material contamination without sincerely serving a devotee of Krishna. Babu Sahat means from the universal remedy. Chanting the holy name and glorifying the Supreme Lord are the universal remedy for all the miseries of materialistic life. Persons who desire to be freed from this material world are called mumukshu. Such persons can understand the miseries of materialistic life, and by glorifying the activities of the Lord, they can be released from all these miseries. The transcendental sound vibrations concerning the Lord's name, fame, form, qualities, and paraphernalia are all non-different from the Lord. Therefore, the very sound vibration of the Lord's glorification and name are pleasing to the ears, and by understanding the absolute nature of the Lord's name, form, and qualities, the devotee becomes joyful. Even those who are not the devotees, however, enjoy the pleasing narrations of the Lord's transcendental activities. Even ordinary persons, not very much advanced in Krishna consciousness, take pleasure in describing the narrations depicted in Srimad Bhagavatam. When a materialistic person is purified in this way, he engages in hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. Because glorification of the Lord's pastimes is very pleasing to the ear and heart of the devotee, it is simultaneously his subject and object. In this world, there are three kinds of men. Those who are liberated, those trying to be liberated, and those entangled in sense enjoyment. Of these three, those who are already liberated chant and hear the holy name of the Lord, knowing perfectly that to glorify the Lord is the only way to keep oneself in a transcendental position. Those who are trying to be liberated, the second class, may regard the chanting and hearing of the Lord's holy name as a process of liberation, and they too will feel the transcendental pleasure of this chanting. As for karmis and persons engaged in sense gratification, they also may take pleasure in hearing the pastimes of the Lord, like his fighting on the battlefield of Kurukshetra and his dancing in Vrindavana with the gopis. The word Uttamasloka Gunanuvada refers to the transcendental qualities of the Supreme Lord, such as his affection for Mother Yasoda and his friends, the cowherd boys, and his loving attitude toward the gopis. The Lord's devotees, like Maharaj Yudhisthira, are also described by the qualification Uttama Sloka Gunanuvada. The word Anuvada refers to describing the qualities of the Supreme Lord or his devotee. When these qualities are described, other devotees are interested in hearing them. The more one is interested in hearing about these transcendental qualities, the more one transcendently enjoys. Everyone, therefore, including the mumukshus, the vimuktas, and the karmas, should chant and hear the glories of the Lord, and in this way everyone will benefit. Although the sound vibration of the transcendental qualities of the Lord is equally beneficial to all, for those who are muktas, liberated, it is especially pleasing. As described in Srimad Bhagavatam, 8th canto, chapter, 3rd chapter, verse 20. Because pure devotees who no longer have any material desires surrender fully to the lotus feet of the Lord, they always merge in the ocean of bliss by chanting and hearing the Lord's holy name. According to this verse, devotees like Narada and other residents of Svetadvipa are seen always engaged in chanting the holy name of the Lord, because by such chanting they are always externally and internally blissful. This mumukshu chanting, the mumukshus persons, one second.
The mumukshus persons chant.
The mumukshus persons desiring to be liberated do not depend on the pleasures of the senses. Instead, they concentrate fully on becoming liberated by chanting the holy name of the Lord. Karmis like to create something pleasing to their ears and hearts, and although they sometimes like to chant or hear the glories of the Lord, they do not do it openly. Devotees, however, always spontaneously hear, chant about, and remember the activities of the Lord. And by this process, they are fully satisfied, even though these may seem like topics of sense gratification. Simply by hearing the transcendental narrations of the Lord's activities, Parikshit Maharaj was liberated. He was therefore Shrota Mano Virama. That is, he glorified the process of hearing. This process should be accepted by all living entities. To distinguish persons who are bereft of these transcendental pleasures, Parikshit Maharaj has used the words Viraj Yeta Gumam. The word Gumam refers to any person, whether man, woman, or in between. Because of the bodily conception of life, we are subject to lamentation. But one who has no such bodily conceptions can take pleasure in transcendental hearing and chanting. Therefore, a person fully absorbed in the bodily concept of life is surely killing himself by not making spiritual progress. Such a person is called Pasugana. Especially excluded from spiritual life are the animal hunters who are not interested in hearing and chanting the holy name of the Lord. Such hunters are always unhappy, both in this life and in the next. It is therefore said that a hunter should neither die nor live, because for such persons both living and dying are troublesome. Animal hunters are completely different from ordinary karmis, and thus they have been excluded from the process of the hearing and chanting. Vina Pasuganat, they cannot enter into the transcendental pleasure of chanting and hearing the holy name of the Lord. The word Maharata refers to a great hero who can fight alone against 11,000 other heroes. And the word Atirata, as found in text 5, refers to one who uh, uh, can fight against an unlimited number. This is mentioned in the Mahabharata as follows: Ekadasa Sahasrani Yodhaye Yastu Dan Vinam Astra Shastra Pravinascha Maharata Iti Smrita Amitan Yodayad Yastu Sam Prokto Tirata Has Tusa. This is the description given in the Brihad Vaishnava Tosani by Srila Sanatana Goswami. Maya Manusyasya 10.1.17. Because of being covered by Yoga Maya, Naham Prakasasarvasya Yoga Maya Samandrita. Krishna is sometimes called Maya Manusya, indicating that although he is the supreme personality of Godhead, he appears like an ordinary person. A misunderstanding arises because Yoga Maya covers the vision of the general public. The Lord's position is actually different from that of an ordinary person, for although he appears to act like an ordinary man, he is always transcendental. The word Maya also indicates mercy, and sometimes it also means knowledge. The Lord is always full of all transcendental knowledge, and therefore, although he acts like a human being, he is the supreme personality of Godhead, full of knowledge. In his original identity, the Lord is the controller of Maya. Maya dakshena prakriti surite characharam. Therefore, the living may be called Maya Manusya, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, playing like an ordinary human being. Although he is the controller of both the material and spiritual energies, the Lord is the Supreme Person, Purushottama. But because we are deluded by Yoga Maya, he appears to be an ordinary person. Ultimately, however, Yoga Maya induces even a non-devotee to understand the Lord as the Supreme Person, Purushottama. In Bhagavad Gita, we find two statements given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead for the devotees. The Lord says, Tesam satadayuktanam bhajatam pratigorvikam dadami buddhiyogam tam yenamam upayanti te. In those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, I give the understanding by which they come to me. Bhagavad Gita 10.10. Thus, for the willing devotee, the Lord gives intelligence by which to understand him and return home back to Godhead. For others, for non-devotees, the Lord says, Mityu sarvaharascha. I am all plundering, inevitable death. A devotee like Prahlada enjoys the activities of Lord Nrsimhadev, whereas non-devotees, like Prahlada's father, Hiranyakashipu, meet death before Lord Nrsimhadeva. The Lord therefore acts in two ways, by sending someone onto the path of repeated birth and death, and sending another back home, back to and back to Godhead. The word kala, meaning black, indicates the color of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Lord Krishna and Lord Ramachandra, who both look blackish, give liberation and transcendental bliss to their devotees. Among persons possessing material bodies, sometimes someone is able to subject death to his own will. For such a person, death is almost impossible because no one wants to die. But although Bhisma Deva possessed this power, Bhisma, by the supreme will of the Lord, died very easily in the Lord's presence. There have also been many demons who had no hope of salvation. Yet Kamsa attained salvation by the supreme will of the Lord. Not to speak of Kamsa, even Putana attained salvation and reached the level of the Lord's mother. Parikshit Maharaj, therefore, was very eager to hear about the Lord, who has inconceivable qualities by which to give liberation to anyone. Parikshit Maharaja, at the point of his death, was certainly interested in his liberation. When such a great and exalted personality as the Lord behaves like an ordinary human being, although possessing inconceivable qualities, his behavior is called Maya. Therefore, the Lord is described as Manusya. This is the opinion of Srila Jiva Goswami. Murder to Mu refers to mukti, or salvation, and ku refers to that which is bad or very obnoxious. Thus, Mukku refers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who saves one from a bad condition of material existence. The Lord is called Mukunda because he not only saves the devotee from material existence, but offers him transcendental bliss in love and service. As for Keshava, Ka means Brahma, and Isha means Lord Shiva. The personality of Godhead captivates both Lord Brahma and Lord Mahadeva, or Shiva, by his transcendental quality. Therefore, he is called Keshav. This opinion is given by Sanatana Goswami in this Vaishnava Tosani commentary. It is said that all the demigods, accompanied by Tri Nayana, Lord Shiva, went to the shore of the ocean of milk and offered their prayers through the mantra known as Purusha Sukta. From this statement, it is understood that the demigods cannot directly approach Lord Krishna, who lies on the ocean of milk, or enter his abode. This is also clearly stated in the Mahabharata, Moksha Dharma, and the next chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has his abode in Goloka. Goloka Namni Nijadamni Tale Chatasya. From Lord Krishna come the Chatra Yuga, the quadruple expansions, Sankar's son, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, and Vasudeva. There are innumerable Brahmandas, all of which emanate from the pores of Karanadakshayi Vishnu. And in every Brahmanda, there is a Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, who is a partial expansion of Aniruddha. This Aniruddha is a natural expansion of Pradyumna, who is partially represented as Kshirodakshayi Vishnu, the super soul of all living entities. These Vishnu expansions are different from Krishna, who resides in Goloka Vrindavan. When it is said that the demigods offered prayers to the Lord by chanting the Purusha Sukta, this indicates that they pleased the Lord by enunciating prayers of bhakti. The word Risha Kapi refers to one who satisfies his devotee in every way and frees his devotee from all material anxieties. Risha refers to religious performances like sacrifices. Even without the execution of sacrifices, the Lord can still enjoy the supermost comforts of the heavenly planets. The statements that Purushottama Jagannatha would appear in the house of Vasudeva distinguishes the Supreme Personality of Godhead from ordinary persons. The statement that he personally appeared indicates that he did not send his plenary expansion. The word Priyartam indicates that the Lord appeared to please Rukmini and Radharani. Priya means the most beloved. In the commentary of Sri Viraraghava Acharya, the following extra verse is accepted after text 23. Rishayopi ta adesat kalp yantam pasu rupina payo dana muken api vishnum tarpaitam sura. O demigods, Even great sages, following the order of Krishna, appeared in forms of cows and calves to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead by delivering milk. Ramanujacharya sometimes accepts Baladeva as a Saptavrisha avatar, but Srila Jiva Goswami has explained that Baladeva is an expansion of Krishna, and that a part of Baladeva is Sankarsana. Although Baladeva is identical with Sankarsana, he is origin of Sankarsana. Therefore, the word Swarat has been used to indicate that Baladeva always exists in his own independence. The word Swarat also indicates that Baladeva is beyond the material conception of existence. Maya cannot attract love him, but because he is fully independent, he can appear by his spiritual potency wherever he likes. Maya is fully under the control of Krishna because the material potency and yoga Maya mingle in the Lord's appearance. They are doubtful. As such, somebody, I'm sorry, they are described as Eka Namsa. Sometimes Eka Namsa is interpreted to mean without differentiation. Sankarsana and Sheshanaga are identical, as stated by Yamuna Devi. O Rama, O great armed master of the world, who have extended yourself throughout the entire universe by one plenary expansion, it is not possible to understand you fully. Therefore, Ekamsa refers to Seshanaga. In other words, Baladeva, merely by his partial expansion, sustains the entire universe. The word Karyadarte refers to one who attracts the pregnancy of Devaki and bewildered Mother Yasoda. These pastimes are very confidential. The Supreme Personality Godhead ordered Yogamaya to bewilder his associates in his pastimes and bewilder demons like Kamsa. As stated previously, Yogamaya Samastisats. To give service to the Lord, Yogamaya appeared along with Mahamaya. Mahamaya refers to Yaya Samitam Jagat, one who bewilders the entire material world. From this state, it is to be understood that Yogamaya, in her partial expansion, becomes Mahamaya and bewilders the conditioned souls. In other words, the entire creation has two divisions: transcendental or spiritual and material. Yogamaya manages the spiritual world, and by her partial expansion as Mahamaya, she manages the material world. As stated in Narada Pancharatra, Mahamaya is a partial expansion of Yogamaya. The Narada Pancharatra clearly stated that the Supreme Personality has one potency, which is sometimes described as Durga. The Brahma Samhita says, Chayeva Yasya Bhuvanani Vivarti Durga. Durga is not different from Yogamaya. When one understands Durga properly, he is immediately liberated, for Durga is originally the spiritual potency, Hiladini Shakti, by whose mercy one can understand the supreme personality of Godhead very easily. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikirtir Hiladini Shakti Asma. The Maha Maya Shakti, however, is a covering of Yogamaya, and she is therefore called the covering potency. By this covering potency, the entire material world is bewildered. Yaya Samhohitam Jagat. In conclusion, bewildering the conditioned souls and liberating the devotees are both functions belonging to Yoga Maya. Transferring the pregnancy of Devahuti, to Devaki, and keeping Mother Yasoda in deep sleep were both done by Yoga Maya. Mahamaya cannot act upon such devotees, for they are always liberated. But although it is not possible for Mahamaya to control liberated souls or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, she did bewilder Kamsa. The action of Yogamaya in presenting herself before Kamsa was the action of Mahamaya, not Yogamaya. Yogamaya cannot even see or touch such polluted persons. Kim, as Kamsa in Chandi in the Markandeya Purana, 11th chapter, Mahamaya says, during the 28th Yuga in the period of Vaivasvata Manu, I shall take birth as the daughter of Yasoda and be known as Vindhya Achala Vasini. The distinction between the two Mayas, Yoga Maya and Mahamaya, is described as follows. Krishna's Rasa Leela with the gopis and the gopis' bewilderment in respect to their husbands, father-in-laws, and other such relatives were arrangements of Yogamaya in which Mahamaya had no influence. The Bhagavad gives sufficient evidence of this when it clearly says Yogamaya Upasrita. On the other hand, there were asuras headed by Salva and Kshatriyas like Dana, who were bereft of devotional service in spite of seeing Krishna's carrier Garuda and the universal form, and who could not understand Krishna to be the supreme personality of Godhead. This was also bewilderment, but this bewilderment was due to Mahamaya. Therefore, it is to be concluded that the Maya, which drags a person from the supreme personality of Godhead, is called Jagamaya, and the Maya, which acts on the transcendental platform, is called Yogamaya. When Nanda Maharaja was taken away by Varuna, he saw Krishna's operating. But nonetheless, he thought that Krishna as his son. Such feelings of parental love in the spiritual world are acts of Yogamaya, not of Jadamaya or Mahamaya. This is the opinion of Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti. Surasenans Cha, the son of Kartaviryarjuna, was Surasena, and the countries he ruled were also called Surasena. This is noted by Sanatana Goswami in his Vaishnava Tosani commentary. In regard to Mathura, we find this quotation, Mat yate tu jagat sarvam, Rama yaneva yena stva tat sara utam yad yasman, Mathura sa nigad yate. When a self-realized soul acts in his transcendental position, his situation is called Mathura. In other words, when one acts in the process of bhakti yoga, he may live anywhere, but actually he lives in Mathura. Vrindavana devotion to Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj, is the essence of all knowledge. And wherever such knowledge is manifested, he is called Mathura. Although, when one establishes bhakti yoga, excluding all other methods, one's situation is called Mathura. Yatra nityam sani ito hari, the place where Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, lives eternally, is called Mathura. The word Nitya indicates eternality. The Supreme Lord is eternal, and his abode is also eternal. Goloka eva nivasati akilatma bhuta. Although the Lord is always stationed in his abode, Goloka Vrindavana, he is present everywhere in fullness. In fullness. This means that when the Supreme Lord descends to the surface of the world, his original abode is not vacant, for he can remain in his original abode and simultaneously descend upon Mathura, Vrindavana, Ayodhya, and other places. He does not need to descend, since he is already present there. He simply manifests himself. Srila Sukadeva Goswami has addressed Maharaj Parikshit as Tata, or beloved son. This is due to parental love in the heart of Sukadeva Goswami. Because Krishna was soon coming as the son of Vasudeva and Devaki, out of parental affection, Sukadeva Goswami addressed Maharaja Parikshit as Tata, my dear son. In the Vishwakosha dictionary, the word garbo is explained. Garbo Brunei Abaka Kaksav Iti Adi. When Kamsa was about to kill Devaki, Vasudeva wanted to dissuade him by the diplomacy of Sama and Veda. Sama means pacifying. Vasudeva wanted to pacify Kamsa by indicating relations, gain, welfare, identity, and glorification. Reference to these five concerns constitutes Sama and Vasudeva's presentation of fear in two situations, in this life and the next, is called Veda. Thus, Vasudeva used both Sama and Veda to satisfy Kamsa. Praising Kamsa's qualifications was glorification, and praising him as a descendant of the Bhoja Vamsa appealed to Sambandha relationship Speaking of your sister was an appeal to identity. Speaking about killing a woman raises questions about fame and welfare, and arousing fear of the sinful act of killing one's sister during her marriage ceremony is an aspect of Veda. The Boja dynasty refers to those who were simply interested in sense gratification and were therefore not very aristocratic. Another meaning of Boga is like these were uh, these were indications of defamation for Krishna. When Vasudeva addressed Kamsa as Dina Vatsala, this was excessive praise. Kamsa would accept calves as a form of revenue from this poor constitution. Poor constitute consti from his poor constituents, and therefore he was called Dina Vatsala. Vasudeva knew very well that he rescue, could not force rescue Devaki from the imminent danger. Devaki was actually the daughter of Kamsa's uncle, and therefore she is described as Surit, meaning relative. It is stated that Kamsa refrained from killing his close relation Devaki because if he had killed her, a great fight would have been ensued among the other members of the family. Kamsa refrained from provoking this great danger of a family fight, for it would have caused many persons to lose their lives. Formerly, an Asura named Kalanemi had 6 sons, named Hamsa, Suvikrama, Kurata, Damana, Ripurmardana, and Krodha Hanta. They were known as the Sad Garbhas, or 6 Garbhas, and they were all equally powerful and expert in military affairs. These Sadgarbhas gave up the association of Hiranyakashipu, their grandfather, and underwent great austerity to satisfy Lord Brahma, who, upon being satisfied, agreed to give them whatever benediction they might desire. When asked by Lord Brahma to state what they wanted, the Sadgarbhas replied, Dear Lord Brahma, if you want to give us a benediction, give us the blessing that we will not be killed by any demigod, Maharoga, Yaksha, Gandharvapati, Siddha Charana, or human being, nor by great sages who are perfect in their penances and austerities. Brahma understood their purpose and fulfilled their desire. But when Hiranyakashipu came to know these events, he was very angry at his grandson. You have given up my association and have gone to worship Lord Brahma, he said, and therefore I no longer have any affection for you. You have tried to save yourselves from the hands of the demigods, but I curse you in this way. Your father will take birth as Kamsa and kill all of you, because you will take birth as sons of Devaki. Because of this curse, the grandsons of Hiranyakashipu had to take birth from the womb of Devaki and be killed by Kamsa, although he was previously their father. This description mentioned in this Hari uh, According to the description is mentioned in the Harivilas, Vishnu Parva, second chapter. According to the comments of the Vaishnava Tosani, the son of Devaki, known as Kirtiman, was the third incarnation. In his first incarnation, he was known as Smara and was the son of Marichi. And later, he became the son of Kalanemi. This is mentioned in the history. An additional verse in this chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam is accepted by the Madhvacharya Sampradaya, represented by Vijayadwaja Tirtha. The verse is as follows. Atakam sam upagamya narado Rama nandana ekantam upasangamya vakyam etad uvachana. Ata in this way, Kamsa unto Kamsa, Upagamya, after going, Narada, the great sage Narada, Brahma Nandana, who is the son of Brahma, Ekantam Upasangamya, after going to a very solitary place, Vakyam, the following instruction, Etat, this Uvacha, this Uvacha said, Ha, in the past. Translation. Thereafter, Narada, the mental son of Lord Brahma, approached Kamsa and in a very solitary place informed him of the following news. The great saint Narada descended from the heavenly planets to the forest of Mathura and sent his messenger to Kamsa. When the messenger approached Kamsa and informed him of Narada's arrival, Kamsa, the leader of the Asuras, was very happy and immediately came out of his palace to receive Narada, who was as bright as the sun, as powerful as fire, and free from all dangers of sinful activities. Kamsa accepted Narada as his guest, offered him respectful obeisances, and gave him a golden seat, brilliant like the sun. Narada was a friend of the king of heaven, and thus he told Kamsa, the son of Ugrasena, my dear hero, you have satisfied me with a proper reception, and therefore I shall tell you something secret and confidential. While I was coming here from Nandakana through the Chaitrarata forest, I saw a great meeting of the demigods who followed me to Sumeru Parvata. We traveled through many holy places and finally saw the holy Ganges, while Lord Brahma was consulting the other demigods about the topmost of Sumera height. I was also present with my stringed instrument, the Veena. I shall tell you confidentially that the meeting was held just to plan to kill the Asura, headed by you. You have a younger sister named Devaki, and it is a fact that her eighth son will kill you. Reference Harivamsa, Vishnu Parva 1.2-16. No one can blame Naradaji for encouraging Kamsa to kill the sons of David. The Saint Narada is always a well-wisher for human society, and he was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, to descend to this world as soon as possible, so that the society of demigods would be pleased and would see Kamsa and his friends killed by Krishna. Kamsa would also attain salvation from his nefarious activities, and this would be very much pleasing to very much pleasing the demigods and their followers. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks in this connection that Narada Muni sometimes did things that were beneficial to the demigods and the demons simultaneously. Sri Vira Raghava Acharya, in his commentary, has included the following half verse in this regard. Asura sarva evaitita lokopadrava karina. Asuras are always disturbing elements for human society. Thus end the Bhakti Vedanta purports of the 10th canto, first chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Advent of Lord Krishna, Introduction. I think we're ready, and we're finished here, right?
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama,
Hare
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So tomorrow we'll take up chapter 2, prayers by the demigods for Lord Krishna in the womb. Haribo. Any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, done with Pranam.
Haribo.
Maharaj, as we know that when Krishna when Vishnu kills the demons, the demon attain the salvation. So Kansa was the demon in his previous birth and he was killed by Vishnu. So how come he took the birth again? He should have taken he should have reached the salvation, no, Maharaj?
Well, mm, okay. Where did you read that?
Uh, it it was so it is written in the previous verses that Kamsa was a demon and he was killed by Lord Vishnu.
Okay, 1 second. So is that let's see. Um, Kamsa accepted Narada as his guest, offered him respectful obeisances, and gave him a golden seed, brilliant like the sun. Narada was a friend of the king of heaven, and thus he told Kamsa, the son of Ugrasena, my dear hero, you have satisfied me with a proper reception, and therefore I shall tell you something secret and confidential. While I was coming here from Nanda Kanana through the Chaitrarata forest, I saw a great meeting of the demigods who followed me to Sumeru Parvata. We traveled through many holy places and finally we saw the holy Ganges. While Lord Brahma was consulting the other demigods at the top of Sumeru Hill, I was also present with my stringed instrument, the Veena. I shall tell you confidentially that the meeting was held just to plan to kill the Asuras headed by you. You have a younger sister named Devaki. and it is a fact that her eighth son will kill you. Reference Harivilas, Vishnu Prabhu 1.2-16. No one can blame Naradaji for encouraging Kamsa to kill the sons of Devaki. The Saint Narada is always a well-wisher for human society, and he wanted the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, to descend to this world as soon as possible so that the society of demigods would be pleased and would see Kamsa and his friends killed by Krishna. Kamsa would also attain salvation from his nefarious activities, and this too would be very much, and this too would very much please the demigods and their followers. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti remarks in this connection that Narada Muni sometimes did things that were beneficial to the demigods and the demons simultaneously. Sri Viraraghava Acharya, in his commentary, has included the following half verse in this regard. Asura Sarva Evaita Mukha Padrava Karina. Asuras are always disturbing elements for human society. Okay, so what was your question again, Mataji?
Maharaj, my question was that it is written that Kansa was the demon in his previous life, and he was killed by Lord Vishnu. So my question was, if he was killed by Lord Vishnu, he should have attained the salvation at that very point, right? Why did he again took a birth again as a human being? Because we also read this that whenever the demons are killed by the Lord, they attain the salvation. So he was already killed by the Lord in his previous life.
Yeah, in this case, Kamsa's, the Jai Vijay, they were already cursed to take three births, right, Mataji? So it's the curse that is in effect.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
the reason why they had to again take another birth. The curse was already the starting point. And
Okay.
after the three births, then they go back. The three demon births, they go back.
Kamsa was one of the Jai Vijay birth.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, brother. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Babaji.
Very well, thank you very much. Okay, well, thank you very much, my dear devotees.
Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.